list.
Okay. We should be. Did I come down here without my phone?
Hey
I
guys,
did.
hey.
Hi. Hi.
Hello.
We are live.
All right, there we go. Now
Out my
see it.
phone.
Now
How do I manage that one? Anyway.
all right. And I'm going to pull it up so that I can read some comments, which will be a good
Yep.
thing, right? A good thing to read some comments.
Yes.
There we go.
Hi, Tanya.
Hey, Tanya, welcome. How are ya? Hey, guys, let me get us wiggled here a little bit. My stand wiggles. So if the wave, just consider it part of the art. If the
We're just going to wave on.
That's right. We're just going to go with the flow. Literally.
That's right. That's right. But so Mama P reached out to me asking me to show her how to paint some flowers. And I'm like, awesome. Yes. Golden Rose. Hi, Rose.
Hello. Hey, how are you, Goldie? Good to see you. So we are going to paint, I am, on a cigar box because I love them and I have a collection of them. And I'm always trying to find ways to specialize them. And so that's what I'm going to paint on today. So I just have a plain old cigar box. This one is flat. Like some of them are engraved and this one is flat. But
yeah,
that's what we got. Good old acrylic paints, nothing special. And a cigar box. That's what we got.
And I have just a piece of paper.
Perfect.
So we're going to do that. And hey, Cindy, we're going to paint on just these. And we're going to first, I'm going to trade out my camera view so you can see the paper bigger.
Oh, look at that pretty painting, you guys.
And here's kind of our sample that we're going to go by. We have these two different ones, but we're going to go with the one with the peonies on it. And so we'll just set that right there. You can kind of see that, and you can see mine. And we're going to first start with the cosmetic sponge.
Okay, I got a sponge paintbrush, but I didn't get a cosmetic sponge.
That's fine. It's fine. You can do a cosmetic sponge, the sponge paintbrush, any kind of sponge would work. So it doesn't matter. And if you don't have that, a paintbrush works. So we're going to start with some blue, some white, and some green. And I just am popping a little blue, and I'm going to pop a little green. And because we're using a sponge, I'm going to leave a little space between them, and I'm going to add that white right there in between them because I want to mix both the blue and the green.
Okay.
And into the white. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of both. And I'm going to show you here. I'm going to just slide that a little over so you can see these three colors here. Yep. I'm going to take my sponge, and on one side I'm going to do the blue and white. On the other side I'm going to do the green in a minute. But I'm going to start by just picking up a little bit of that blue and white. It doesn't matter how they mix. And then we're just going to, the area you want to paint, if you want to leave some of your box, because your box is shaped a little different than this paper. Yep. But if you want to leave a little space to see, or if you want to do the whole box, whatever you want, we're going to start kind of on the upper side with the blue and white. And then on the lower side half, we're going to add in that green.
Oh, that makes sense.
And you're just going to start to tap. And it doesn't matter how the blue and white go down. You can let it blend very evenly, or you can leave some white in, and I like to leave a little white and as my clouds for my sky, but however you want to do it.
Okay, so about halfway down-ish.
About halfway down, yeah.
Okay.
Somewhere in there. It doesn't have to be exact. We're not exact painters. I'm not an exact painter.
Well, thank goodness.
So something like that. And then we're going to start to pick up the green and white, same sponge. It doesn't matter if you have a little bit of that blue on it. It's not going to hurt it. And we're just going to start to introduce a little bit of that green and white.
All right.
in that center part there at the bottom where of our blue. And we're just going to kind of add in start a little bit of green. And then as we work down to the bottom, we're going to use a little less of that white.
Okay.
And we're going to turn it more green.
All right.
Because that's getting down to where our grasses are.
Amanda, I should tell everybody I have a house full today. So I have my daughter Jenna and Adeline are here today. My daughter-in-law Lauren and Ruben are here at the table. They're going to paint if it will allow. And my youngest daughter Merritt is with us today. So if they don't get to paint during our lifetime, they
can paint afterward.
Later, and we'll share those.
Oh, they can paint with us. We got like a little mini paint party. I love it.
We are. Okay, are you blending it all? Yeah,
I'm doing a tiny little bit. You want to blend between the two. Yeah, come on in there between the two and just kind of like let the blue kind of fade into the green or the green fade up into the blue. Just to kind of, You can work a little more white in there if you put a little white on your brush. And then just work a little white in between the two and just kind of mute out the blue and the green in between the two with that white. Okay. And it'll help kind of like you kind of lose where one starts and one stops. The exact spot of where, yeah. And it kind of will get lighter and you kind of lose that area of where one starts and one stops there. Yeah, just keep tapping in that white in that area. And it doesn't have to be exactly horizontally across. It can dip and raise and all of that. Hey, Kelly.
Hey, Kelly.
She's got it going on, doesn't she, Goldie? She got to go and she could do excellent.
Listen, guys, if you are watching on my page, I shared it over, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to see your comments in real time. So just know if I don't answer you, I will go back. I'll go back and check all that in case, because I'm just not real sure. You know me and my technology. You never know.
Yeah. Well, and me, I left my cell phone upstairs. I was like, the thing is literally attached to my hand. And how I managed to leave it upstairs, I don't know.
Oh, I love your oval. That's beautiful.
Well, I just figured with the rectangle, the oval works good.
It does.
But for the square, I think you have a better choice there, because I think if you had tried an oval, you would not have much room for your flowers.
No, and this box is really square shaped anyway. So
yeah, so I think I think that's an awesome choice to go square. And so now we can go and we can start to just put on some flowers. Okay. And if you want to grab your like bright yellow, I don't know how many yellows you have, but if you have you can use white to lighten.
I have it's called crocus, but it looks kind of a goldy yellow.
Okay.
And I have, sorry, I'm chasing my camera. I have this yellow, and then I have like crazy bright
yellow. Yeah, I would go with one of those two that's in I think your left hand. I don't know, maybe your right hand.
Yeah, this is sunset gold. That might be a pretty
good. Yeah, that'd be a good one. Oops. And then we can just use some white when we need to lighten it. And it'll be fine. We'll start with our daffodils.
It's still a mess. Hang on a minute. I'm still trying to find decent yellow paint. All right, there we go. They are like icky. I don't a lot. So, I don't know who else has a shoebox full of acrylic paint, but that's what mine lives in. Yeah, you might have to give it a good shake. If you the Deco Art, if it was like really runny when you squirted it out, just give it a good shake and it'll be fine. It's just where it separates, and that'll do it. All right. Yeah, just give it a good little shake and you'll be back to your normal paint. All right. What kind of brush do I want, Amanda? I like to use a flat brush. So I'm using like a small 1/2 inch or less flat brush. Yep, something like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And do I need to dry? Because my paint looks pretty wet to me.
If it is very wet, then yes, or we're going to be blending.
Okay.
That's the one good thing about like a little cosmetic sponge. You can just put down a small layer and it dries really fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't really want blending in. Hey, Callie.
Hey guys.
Although acrylic paint tends to dry fast. Yeah, you want it to be dry. I know sometimes it gets thicker, and wood absorbs different than paper.
Yes. Okay. I think that'll be
Right.
so we won't make a mess.
Yeah, we don't want like a clogged up mess. Now there will be points where we want to do a wet on wet, but this is not that point.
This is not that time. All right.
So we're going to start with our first one, and we're going to kind of go up here a little higher because this is like our tallest flower.
Okay.
And when we start, we're just going to kind of start and put down kind of like a little, this is kind of like that center part of our flower, just a little circle, almost as if you were doing a sun up in the sky. Yeah, just a little, paint on a little circle. Now your yellow may be a little more translucent. Yellow sometimes. This one I'm using is a little translucent. It's fine. We're going to have multiple layers. It isn't going to matter.
Okay, so if we're seeing through it, we don't have
If you're seeing through it, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Right. And so for a daffodil, we want 5 kind of large petals. And they're kind of like, you know, just kind of shaped, kind of curl out a little bit and then curve into a point.
Oh, sure.
And so...
Oh, sure. Exactly like that.
Yeah. Just kind of curve out and go to a point and then curve out. And then if you need to thicken it, thicken it. It needs to be a little thicker than like you would do a sunflower.
Kind of like that.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Kind of like that.
You're good. It's good.
Okay. And then let's see. So you've got one.
I've got one. And then we're going to put 5 petals just all the way around. And it's okay to have space between them. They don't have to like be right on top of each other.
All right.
So I'm just going to kind of work like a clock, you know, one kind of like a little offset from 12, one a little more at the 3. And then I'm going to put one down kind of at the 5-ish. Somewhere 5 hitting on 6.
5:30?
Yeah. And then I'm going to come on over to about the 7:30, 8 o'clock. And if one's a little bigger than the other, that's okay. Don't fret about it. And then I'm going to kind of go up to like, maybe like the 10 o'clock.
You guys, daffodils are one of my favorite. I asked Amanda if we could do them. Daffodils were my dearest childhood friend's favorite flower. And she passed away several years ago from cancer. And it was not daffodil season. But she always wanted daffodils. When she knew she was sick, she wanted them at her funeral. And you guys would not believe the hoops we jumped through to find daffodils.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
But we had some, and they forced them for us to get them to bloom. So we had daffodils totally off season, but they're very special to me that way. I told Amanda if we did peonies and daffodils, it would match the tattoo on my back. So if you ever want to see an impressive piece of work, I'll show you my daffodil peony tattoo someday. It's a big one.
That's awesome.
Okay, so
and then just come back and firm up that center a little bit. Just especially if you're see-through. Just kind of like put a little circle back in there.
Okay.
And you're going to start to kind of see the kind of like, okay, I see the center of that daffodil popping out there. And we're going to walk away from that one and we're going to do a couple others.
All right. I want to know if anybody's painting with us. So you guys are going to have to own up if you're watching. over if you're painting.
Oh, yeah. Are you painting with us? I would love it if you were.
Wouldn't that be fun?
It would be. We'll have to plan that. If you love this and you love your painting, we could make this like a once a month thing or something. I don't know, something like that.
Okay, so now you're going
So
down.
I'm gonna go, yeah, on my side is to the right, and I'm just gonna do another little center, just another little circle there.
All right.
I always kind of like to start with like, okay, where is that center of that daffodil going to be coming in there? And I'm going to give it a little cone shape because this one's going to be going that way. So you see how I did a little circle and then I kind of just pulled out a little bit.
All right. I can see that.
And then we're going to do the exact same thing. Hey, Sharon and Maureen.
Hey, guys. Hey, Sharon.
And then we're going to do the exact same thing that we did with this one with the petals around it, except we're going to remember that we're pointing that way.
Okay.
So we're going to kind of give them just a little, we're going to make them a little narrower. Okay. And we're going to think about like that same, like, okay, if I'm pointing that away, where would my 12 and my, 3-ish and my really like 1231-ish and my 3-ish be?
My 315 and my 545.
And my, right, exactly. And we're just going to come in and put those petals in there. Now that one that's kind of going like the 530, it just kind of sticks out from that center part there. Yeah. So just bring it out a little bit. You're going to kind of lose your center just a little bit, but you'll be able to see it. I always like to start with the center pieces because then you can build off of it. You can build your petals off of it. And if a petal goes rogue like that one just went on me, my brush kind of like wanted to lay down the wrong way. It's okay. Don't fret it. It's going to be a beautiful petal in the end. It's just going to have a little bend back on it. And we want to get those 5 petals in there. Because they have that like center and then they have the pretty flowers that go, pretty petals that go out around it.
They do.
And we're going to put another one just kind of like over here on this side. Right. You have a lot more space than I have, so you have plenty of room for your other ones.
Right. So we're going to kind of left bottom.
Just kind of come over on this side, and you can actually make yours a little bit bigger than I'm gonna make mine, but I'm gonna do a little center. Okay. And I'm gonna do a little cone. Mine's gonna kind of point upward that way, but you can point yours any direction you want and just do your little cone.
I'll point it whichever way it turns out looking.
That's right. And sometimes that's all that matters is that's a final thing. Like sometimes it's like, and then we're just going to do our little petals going around the same way. A lot of this is just like, it's not perfect, but it's just like the impression of a daffodil. And your eye will fix anything that's not perfect about it. Your eye will be like, oh yeah, that's a daffodil. I totally see it's a daffodil.
That's a daffodil.
It's funny how your eyes and things like that will
it's kind of like how we don't notice typos on words that we know.
Exactly. Like, words that they've proven like you can change like a few of the letters in the word and you can still read them. It says exact same thing. It kind of fills in all of the imperfections and it's like, okay, I see a daffodil.
Right now, I see a mess.
No, I see daffodil coming in there. Once you do your petals, go back and touch in that center so you don't lose your center. So you know exactly. And if you're starting to lose your center on the other ones, just go back and kind of just touch back over top of them. Yeah, it's looking good. And there's always in everything, no matter what you do, and you know this, it's a process. And there's always that like little ugly stage where you're like, well,
what have we done? Oh my
what have we done? What am I doing? Everything has it. So that's why we don't stress.
Good.
And the thing about acrylic painting and the thing about paper crafting, the same thing about it is there are no mistakes. Nothing is you can't fix.
Thank you, Maureen, for saying you see daffodils. That makes me feel good.
Yes.
Feel good.
So we're gonna let those dry as we get the 3 on there, and we can still see our centers. Just make sure on all 3 of yours, you can still see where your center is on the direction it's pointing.
Yep.
Because being all the same paint as it dries, it'll all dry back the same way. But if you tuck back in it and coat over top of it, it's going to dry back a different color. So you'll be able to see. If you can see mine, you can see my centers.
Right. I think so. Can you see if I hold it?
Yeah, I can see your centers. Yes. And so you have a good, like, okay, it's pointing these different directions.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. We're going to do a similar thing, not the same, but similar with our peonies. And I'm going to use pink, and I'm going to use some white. And you got nice real estate that you don't have to worry about them being so crunched in there.
Yeah.
And you can make nice, good circles.
Okay. And are you using the same kind of shape of brush for this one?
Yeah, I'm just using my same brush.
Same brush. Okay.
Yep, the exact same one.
Cool.
Probably will use the same brush for the entire painting.
Wow. A one brush painting. I love that.
That's the thing I love about the flat brushes, because it can do so much. And you don't have to have 52 different brushes. You just have to have one. And then let me pull my. So I've got my pink. This is dragon fruit pink, which is a really bright pink. And then I think this is, dragon fruit. And I've got my white. I put my white in my brush because I want it to be a lighter pink.
Okay.
If you've got a lighter pink, then you don't need to do this step.
Okay.
But I kind of want mine to be a lighter pink.
All right.
To start with. This is what I call the base. And these are the base.
All right.
And so when you're painting acrylics, the base is a very important step, because if we need to erase something, that's the color we go back to, is that base color. Okay. And we can erase anything we want to erase by going right back to that base color.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to grab some pink, and for this, I want to just put in some circles. So I'm going to put in my circle. And it doesn't have to be a perfect circle, but for circle. So, if it was a rose, I would tell you to purposefully make them not so circular, but peonies are a little different. They're more like that big circle bundle. So I'm going to try to keep somewhat of a circle. I have a little real estate issue, but it doesn't have to be a perfect circle. You certainly don't have to use a stencil or anything like that.
All right.
And so I'm going to do 3 because I like odd numbers of everything. So I'm going to do 3.
All right. Then I'm going to do 3 too.
Okay. I'm just going to put 1 down here. And I'm going to put 1 over here. I'm taking up this space in here. And if you're like me and you have real estate issues, you can decide, like, is it behind? Is it in front of? One of your petals. It doesn't matter.
Maureen, peonies are my favorites. I
Hey,
love,
Krista.
love peonies. And I'm actually going to try to propagate some this year, which, if y'all know, I can't keep any plants alive. So that's kind of comical all in itself that I would even consider it. But they are. They are my favorites.
I love them too. I have some in my yard. I wish they would propagate. I wish they would spread out. I planted a bunch thinking they would take over part of this hill that they're on,
Uh-huh.
but they haven't spread.
I met a lady who propagates hers, and all you do is when the flowers start to wilt on the bush, you just cut them off and you leave a section of stem and you peel the petals off, and inside it looks like 3 or 4 little spikes coming out of the center.
Uh-huh.
And those are peony seeds. And you dry those pods. I've got some drying over here. And then in the fall, you start the process of propagating those by getting the seeds to grow. And by spring, you have a plantable peony bush.
Oh, well,
So,
I'm gonna have to try that next
yeah.
year. Mine are already spent. Mine here, we get ours. They come in April, May. You know what I mean? Like, so mine have already done, and they're done.
The deer keep trying to eat all of our hostas, Krista, but they haven't been too bad on the peonies this year.
Yeah,
But
the deer doesn't get my peonies, but they get my hostas. The deer got my hostas this year. But I kind of let her get my hostas because she had a baby on the way. She needed food.
That's right. That's right. She needed the calories.
Although I will say I do know the secret for keeping them away, and I normally keep them away. You get the Irish Spring soap, the original, and you get you a cheapy grater because you don't want to use one you use on food, and you grate it up, and then you sprinkle it around anything you don't want the deer to eat.
And that works.
They'll stay away. But now you have to resprinkle because it will wash, it washes the soap away. It doesn't hurt a thing. It doesn't hurt the flowers. It doesn't hurt anything. But they don't like the smell.
Oh.
And the deer will, I literally watch them like circling it.
And they're like, no, thank you.
And then they're like, no. And then they'll come back. They come back and test it.
See if it still stinks.
They'll come back and they'll test it and make sure. Okay. So now that we got all of our stuff on there and they are drying, we're going to go back to the yellow.
Okay.
And
my yellow still looks kind of wet again. You want me to take a second and dry it?
You can, or it doesn't matter for this step.
Okay. Well, we'll just try it and see what happens. Okay.
I'm going to use a lighter color yellow, but if you want to mix some white in with yours and get a lighter color yellow, you can. And so if you can see, here is the yellow that I initially used.
Okay.
And here's my lighter color yellow. So it's significantly lighter.
Okay. All right. So about this difference, here was my original color. I added white, and now about this
and
much.
You want to get a lighter, yes, lighter yellow, yes.
Butter.
Yeah, it kind of looks like butter. I'd call this a butter color. Maybe slightly darker. This is the real true, like from a farmer butter color. Not necessarily from the store butter color. And we're gonna go back over our petals.
Okay.
We're just gonna kind of like, we don't want to take away all of our yellow, but we're just gonna kind of hit them, especially on like one side, our lighter side. We want to kind of just, and it doesn't have to be a thick coat.
Okay.
We just kind of just get it in there and just. I don't have a whole lot of paint on my brush, and I'm just kind of like letting it almost dry brush right on top. And so it's some of the original yellow was left behind, But if you get too much, it's okay because we're going to go back into that original yellow and add a little bit back anyway.
Okay.
We want to thicken it. We want to make sure we're not really seeing through it too much. But you want to be a little heavier with the lighter on one side and then let the regular yellow kind of come in on the other side. If you can see mine, you can see where my petals are starting to be lighter on one side.
Okay.
And a little dark on the other side. Some are thicker, some are thinner. Yep. Yep. Yours are looking good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're going to go back into that original color of that yellow.
Okay.
Because yours you can see through. That's why you're seeing that greenish color. And we're going to go right over top of that.
Okay.
And we're going to just let it, the two will mix a little bit because it'll be a little wet. And that's what we want. We want to kind of get those two together. If you were a little thicker on one of the lighter colors and took away too much yellow, you can kind of hit on top of it and bring a little more of that yellow back. But at this point, we want them to kind of be blending a little bit. That's why we're not really waiting for it to dry.
Gotcha.
And I'm going to take a little bit of this lighter yellow, and I'm just going to start to put it in the center. Now, I don't want to take all of my dark away.
Okay.
But I'm just going to like make a little circle.
Like in the center or around? Oh, I see.
Around the center, yeah. Where you have your center, just take a little area and just make a little, just the corner of your brush and just make a little circle around because that's going to be where it flares out at that center part.
Okay.
And then I'm going to pick up a little bit of orange. Oh, thank you, Krista.
I knew she wasn't talking about my nails.
They are a little long. I'm going to have, the next time I go back and get them done, I'm going to have them cut them off a little bit. They're a little long. But, you know. All right. My brush is still dirty, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of my orange.
Okay.
And on this time, I'm going to start so where the petals meet that center, not on the very center, but on the edges, I'm going to go on our petal side, and I'm just going to pull out a little bit onto my petals. Again, a dry brush, and I'm just going to I want to set those petals down. So I'm just going to pull out a little bit. I'm just going to start right there and just pull up into the petal. And that's going to set those petals down a little bit. So it's like it, is coming out like that.
Yeah.
The darker colors are going to push away. The lighter colors are going to bring forth. The only time that changes is when you're doing a landscape.
Oh.
The rules on landscape change as to what brings things closer and what pushes things away. But when it comes to flowers and things like that, darker pushes back, light pulls out. I just put some paint up on my paper. So anywhere I want a little darker, I'm just going to come in with that full orange. There's all kind of rules, and you can choose to follow the rules, or you can choose to go on your own. It's, it all works. That's the beauty of painting and the beauty of acrylic painting is it all works. And I'm going to take some of this orange while I'm working in it, and I'm going to just in the center, in the true center of my daffodil, I'm just going to darken that whole center. So now you can start to see. You see mine. You can start to see how I did that, where I took that light color and did around the center. I'm coming in the center of it with that dark orange. So now it's going to start to look like the center is popping out. And so when I paint, and this is truly just me, I mean, it could be others do the same thing. I always like to put down a base and then I go darker and then I go lighter. And
Okay.
so we kind of got our base in and now we've got our darker in. Now we're going to go lighter. You see that?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Now I'm going to go back to my lighter yellow and I'm going to add white to it.
So
So
you're
it
gonna light.
becomes even lighter. It's going to almost look like butter you buy at the store or buttercream, versus like a true white icing.
Okay. Gotcha.
Everything's related to food, right?
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Well, it's the thing that you know the color of. And then this is where I really want to pay attention to where my light points are on my petals. So where I kept it a little lighter, this is where I'm going to focus this color. And I'm just going to kind of come in and lighten those petals that already were light. I'm not going to take away all of that light. I'm just going to kind of come and highlight them a little bit more. And you can stay kind of more on the edge if you want to. But we just want to add that little highlight. We're going to lighten it. I won't even call this a true highlight, but we're just lightening in it. And then because I like to let my stuff blend a little bit, and the easiest blend technique you can do is put down your color and then go back into the color that was underneath of it, which is that lighter yellow. And we're going to just kind of hit the edges. We're not going to go into it, but where they meet, you're going to just kind of hit that edge. And then what's going to happen is with a dry brush, don't put too much paint. You're going to start to be like, well, where did that start? You're just going to kind of blend the edges of where that highlight you put on or the lighter you put on and that original lighter was. Now I actually put it on the wrong side here, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to cover that up. I touched my brush on the wrong side of my petal when I started that petal.
That's always been my struggle when I try to do anything artistic. I feel like I don't know how to get the light where the light should be.
Yeah, you make it up. I'm going to tell you the secret of it is or my secret, what I do is I make it up.
You got to make it up as you go, huh?
Uh-huh. You make it up as you go. And that's what I do. I make it up. I just kind of envision and I just kind of keep it like if it was someone's coming in here, it would hit there, it would hit there, it would hit here. I make it up. It may not make sense to anybody's brain but my brain, but there it goes.
You're making your own little world. You're not making anybody else's.
That's right. It's my happy little flower and it's my happy little world. And so if I'm happy with it, that's all that matters. So we're gonna do the same kind of treatment to the other two daffodils.
All right.
We gotta remember how we had them facing.
Yep.
And so I'm gonna go into that lighter yellow. And I'm just gonna start to work on my petal. And I was kind of picking like, okay, I think the sun would hit there. And maybe right here. I don't fret too much over that. And you can tell I fret zero over it being perfect.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so we did light and then we did
Okay. I found this on the web for Did Light. Check it out.
Oh, great.
Y'all, she kills me.
She's helping. She's helping.
How she
Sorry, I'm still not sure about that.
I don't know how to make her go away. Oh, there we go. Okay. So my Siri does not talk to me on a normal basis. She does not like me. She does not talk to me.
But she does like the attention.
But when I'm on live, she will respond. Hey, Heather. She will respond to different stuff. Like she's my best friend. But if I'm not live, she won't speak to me.
And about the recognition.
No, when she hasn't spoken to me, I can call her name as much as I want to. She will not respond to me at all. If I'm live, she will respond.
She just wants to be famous.
I guess. I don't know. But me and Siri have quite the history, I guess. I made her mad one day. I made her mad. And she has held it against me for years now. It's been years.
Wow.
So I was trying to get directions to somewhere in town that I just didn't realize. I didn't know where the place was I was going. And our downtown is kind of it's really cute, really a cool place, but there's a lot of one-way streets.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to know, like, okay, which road I needed to get on, what, like, one-way street, how to get there.
Yeah.
And she kept sending me to Michigan.
That's not really
and telling me the place in Michigan. And I'm like, I'm in Virginia.
Not even close.
And I was like, in Virginia. And she kept sending me to Michigan. She kept, in Michigan? No, in Virginia. In Charlottesville, Virginia. And so finally I was like, you're useless. And her response was, I'm sorry you feel that way.
She knew. She knew what you said.
That's what she
had it out for you ever since.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. And then it was like right after that, she stopped responding to me. Right after that, my watch, my Apple Watch, got an alert on my phone that there was like an electrical storm in the area. And my watch told me it was time to take a walk outside. She came on my watch and told me it was time to take a walk outside.
Whoa.
She's never told me on my phone to ever exercise once since I had that thing. And then the day like the alert comes out, it's like, it's time to take a walk outside.
You need to get outside, girl. This is going to be exciting. Thank you so much.
I was just like, she's trying to kill me.
She got your number.
And then you're going to put the light in, and then we're going to go back to that original yellow, and we're going to kind of meet where they come together and blend that in. And then we're going to go to that darker color, the orange, where we start to set those petals and get a little bit in that center. Yeah, I know. It's crazy, right? Like, I didn't even know they had...
That's...
But... I don't listen to her that often because I'm not sure she has my best.
I'm sure she's all on your side, Amanda.
Yeah, I don't think so. And when I start in that orange, I'm just going to remember, like, okay, the darker side of the petals, and we'll set them. And I'll set my petals.
Yes, Adeline, is that what you think, sister?
She has
an opinion.
To be heard. It's adorable.
It's pretty stinking fun, I'm telling you.
Oh, I know. I've been there. It's fun. My grandson turned 18 this year and graduated from...
No way.
Yes. Graduated. Now he's my stepson's son, but
Still,
you
wow.
know, I consider my stepson my son, and so his mom chose not to be part of his life, and I am part of his life.
And he
And
loves to be. I'm telling you, what a blessing, right?
yes, exactly. And so, but there is like an age difference between me and my husband, so that's how. But and my granddaughter, she's 13. So I
Oh,
remember those. I remember those little baby days. And my niece turned 18 and graduated.
wow,
So
wow.
so now that I have my orange in there, I'm gonna go to that lighter yellow color with using the white.
Hmm.
So 18 years goes by in a blink of an eye, I can tell you that much. And you know that too, because you have kids of different ages. You know how fast it all goes.
Uh-huh.
And you're like, how does it go that fast?
How did that happen?
Right, exactly. How did that happen? And I'm just gonna kind of put in where my little circle, because even though it's pointing off, it's not a complete circle, but it's like an oblong circle. So if you don't have it pointing directly at you, think about how that circle would look. It's still going to be, it may just be like a little like sliver, but it's going to still be there.
All right.
And then just do your petals the same way. And depending on how you put this on, you can give a curve, you can give a bend. You can make it so you're seeing the back side of the petal versus the front side.
Well, you can. You
You
can.
can too. You can too.
You sure can.
It's all just in how you put the light pulls forward and the dark pushes backwards. Yes, it does go way too fast.
It does. My one of my sister's famous bit of wisdom is that the days are long, but the years are short. And
Yes,
isn't that the truth of it? Like
that
when you're
is
in
the
the midst
truth
of
of
the
it.
days, they don't always feel like it's going so fast. But then you look back on the years and you're like, oh, holy moly.
I know, like how did 18 years, how did 13 years go so fast? And then we're just gonna come on over to your other petal when you're done with that one and you're happy with the way that looks. And we're gonna do the same thing on the other petal. The exact same steps. Oh, yay, Kelly, I'm so excited. I know you miss him and I know you're excited for him to be there. Now, how long is he staying? That's going to be my next question.
I feel like my base color kind of went away. Oh, I think Amanda is frozen.
Am I frozen? No, I was just standing still.
And
I hope
quiet.
I'm not frozen.
Okay, good, good, good. I'm like, oh no, I'm all alone.
No, you're not. I'm watching. I was just watching what you were doing. I was just seeing where you were at. I don't want to get too far. I don't want to get ahead.
Yeah, no, I moved on to that third.
Yep. I was watching you. Kathy says she loves your shirt, Cheryl.
Thank you, Kathy. I have a wardrobe of these shirts. They all come from the same company, but I sure do like them. Oh, Kelly, that'd be great. We live up here to be near our kids, and it's been the coolest thing ever to be able to be geographically close is a huge blessing.
Yes, it is. Oh, Kelly, I'm so excited for you. That would be awesome. I don't know about him, but Mississippi looks good on you. She posted a picture of her beach hair, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Beach hair always is good hair, right?
That is.
It does make your life more full, Kelly, of all the best things. You can have a life, but it is a more full life to get to be around.
Yes, I'm very fortunate that all my family lives right here.
That is.
And so now who knows where Zach and Zoe, my niece and my nephew, will end up, or I feel like my grandson and my granddaughter probably won't go far, but who knows,
Yeah.
life changes for all. But I don't know about Zach and Zoe. They may decide to go all kind of places. Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, no doubt, Maureen. It is truly a blessing to get to be there. Kelly moved away. How funny.
Yeah, I understand, Kelly. Sometimes you just need to change things up. Well, I don't know that you could have picked a prettier place because it's really pretty there with your pictures you post. Unless you came to Virginia. If you came to Virginia, then I'd say you'd pick a prettier place. But come to my area of Virginia. I somehow done picked up blue with my brush.
I feel like sometimes when I'm brushing, I'm scraping everything back off.
Mm-hmm. Well, I often do that. I will load my brush and then you'll see me like dab it on my palette plate here or my little thing. Because I don't want a huge amount of paint on my brush when I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And so I will just basically load my brush and then wipe half of the paint off.
I want you, but not that much.
But not that much, right? I want that color and I want it loaded in those bristles, but then I don't want it coming off that thick. So I end up rubbing off half of it. It almost sounds like it's raining outside, which I doubt.
I would pay for rain at this point here. We have really hit a dry spot.
We have too. We haven't had much rain in the past, I would say, a couple weeks.
Yeah, and
we had it where it was raining.
It's gross.
Yeah. We had it where it was raining every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I was about to lose my mind. So we should have something that looks like this when we are done.
Mine look like this. This
Yeah,
way.
they're looking good. You might want to back up that orange just a little bit so it's not like, see how it's not like it's like just in the center. Like it doesn't come out like a little center peak.
It's just kind
more like at the base of the petal itself. And so
kind of all around
the center looking good. Yeah. Yeah, if you take that yellow that you put down originally, you can just kind of like blend it off a little bit where it's just kind of at the bottom coming out. Yeah. Yeah. Make it a little less like a little triangle and more like just break it up. That's exactly right. Hers are looking extremely good, aren't they, Kelly?
You're so kind.
Oh, we're going to come in with another color in a minute. We're going to come in with some white, and it's going to really make the difference. But we're going to let that dry, and we're going to move on to our peonies.
All right.
And for the peonies, we're going to do a very similar thing. So I mixed the white in to get these. And so now I have the regular color for my dark, and then I can go lighter pink for my light.
Okay.
I'm going to probably go lighter and lighter and lighter, and maybe only come in with a dark here and there if I need to, because most can't. I mean, I know they have a pink one, but most of the ones I have kind of like have pink, but they're very whitish with just like a little bit of pink.
Right.
And so I'm going to go into my white and go back into my pink and make a lighter pink. I'm almost going to leave these the darker color. I know I said earlier I go base and then I go dark and then I go light, but in this case, this is like one of those cases where because of the color I want it to end up, I'm going lighter first.
Okay.
So I may only go lighter.
Okay. So let's say I was going to have 3 shades, like, I just put my finger in it. So I started with this, and then I have my white here. So I have base, medium, and super light, or light. At this point, am I going lightest or am I going middle?
Go middle. Go middle. Don't go to your whitest yet.
Okay. Perfect.
Go middle. Because that color you have down may be our darkest when we're done.
Right. Right.
Even though it's our base, it may be our darkest. We may not go any darker than that. So we're going to go lighter, 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 lighter. And so I don't know how many lighters. We'll see.
All right.
We'll see as we go. Now for this is kind of like a little just make it up. And I kind of started on the edge, and I kind of think, okay, do I want my peony, like the first layer to be laid down and then the rest to go up, or do I want the whole thing to be up? And it almost just works out the way it works out. But I take my brush with that lighter color, and I'm just going to tap. And I kind of just start to form my petals. And you know, it's so you kind of just make it up as you go.
I kind of rounded.
Yep, kind of work around, and you can decide. Like I said, if one goes down or or if they're all up.
It's a little bit dark on your desktop, so I was watching a little closer to see. Oh, there you go. All right, so you're just making like little half moons.
Little, yeah. I'm just tapping down, and what comes off. And I don't have a whole lot of paint in my brush. If you can see my brush, it's not thick with paint. It's not. Paint. It's got paint built up in it, but if you look out here on the edges, it doesn't lay off much at all. Okay. When I touch my finger, see how it just kind of gives a little bit. Versus like if I really had my brush loaded, it would paint deep. But there's paint up in here because I've loaded it up in there. But then I'll wipe it off so I don't have it out on the edge of my brush, because you can see the bristles on the edge of my brush are the brown.
Okay.
Yeah. And so then that way I'm not off when I touch my brush down. I'm just putting a little bit down. I'm not unloading my brush like as if I were painting that whole circle.
Okay.
And then I just kind of tap, and I'm working my way around and into that center. And it will tap, and some will get a little thicker and some will get a little thinner, and that's okay. That just means our petal is going to be going one way or the other. And this just gives us a little something to work with. It doesn't even have to be what we end up with, but this is just a starting point.
Okay. Hey, Carol, how are you? Hey, we are
Hey, Cheryl.
peonies. Kind of.
Yeah, and you just kind of work around. And then I'm kind of just going back on top of what I already put down and putting just another little tap. And this is where the petals really start to form out for me.
Now, so you don't have a particular, okay, you didn't like start with a circle in the center or anything like that?
No, I started on the outside and I worked my way in to the center. I find that's the easiest way to go is from the outside in.
Okay. And then when you said you went back in and you tapped with the same
And
color,
I just pick up a little more paint and wipe it off and then just kind of right on top of where you put something down, I just tap on top of it again.
Okay.
And it's just gonna lighten it. And when it dries back, it's gonna dry back a little lighter. And that's just gonna bring my petal up into that center.
Thank you, Capri. Good to see you, sis. Good to see you. Grab yourself a box and some paint. Now, come on, you guys. You can't let me be all this learning alone. Who knows what we might be painting?
That's right. We can paint anything.
Tap, 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 tap.
Tap, tap, tap. And just pick up, and when you pick up, wipe off a little bit, grab a little white, tap,
Okay,
tap, tap around. Don't make them so, they don't have to be even. If you look at mine, some are bigger, some are thinner, some are.
And are you lightening your color when you go back over again?
When I go back over again, I'm just picking up a little more of the paint, and I don't know if I'm lightening it. It has a little white in there, and I'm just tapping, but it's going to dry back different colors.
Okay, sure.
Because the first one's going to dry back into that pink, and then when you go back on top of it, it's going to dry back into the color that you had down. So it's going to inevitably dry lighter every time.
Okay.
Okay, you have a good one, Kelly.
Have a good afternoon, Kelly. Oh, Maureen, everybody's here today. You see my daughter-in-law, Lauren. You can see her elbow. There she is. She's painting.
She's painting.
My daughter, Merritt's over there on the other side of the table.
Painting. We have like a little mini paint party going on.
And my daughter, Jenna, and Adeline are here, but Adeline had to go take a nap. So they are currently away from the painting table. Oh, you can hear that. She is protesting the whole idea of missing.
It's like everybody else is in there painting, having fun.
And you expect
and you're gonna make me go and lay down. Yeah.
So, Amanda, in just general terms, how many times would you continue to go over your little lines? Would you put
however many times you want? I mean, I did it like 2 or 3 times, and then I'm going to move on to my next one because I'm going to come back with some white in the end. We're going to come back with some white, and we're going to call them out a little bit more.
Okay.
And so, but just, yeah, try to keep more of that like circular pattern going.
Okay.
So, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pick up some white. I'm going to pick up some pink because mine is almost dry. And get that lighter color that I want.
Okay.
And when I do this, you can see what I'm doing. I'm just getting my lighter color.
Okay.
I'm going to go with, and then I'm going to wipe it off a little bit.
Okay.
So again, I don't have any, you can see the color of the bristles of my brush on the very end, but your paint is up in here, but you can see the bristles. So when I tap on my finger or my hand, you can see I'm not laying down a whole lot of paint.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I'm going to start on the outside, and I just kind of like, I do hold the brush a little bit of an angle, but not much.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to tap around. The first time around, it's not going to look like much.
No, I noticed on the other one that as it dried, it was almost hard to see where I'd been.
Yeah. And then as you continue to add the next layer, it all starts to pop out. Kind of like
It is fun. It is fun. Yeah, Adeline could finger paint like a pro. We do her footprints and handprints all the time paint, and she loves it. But when a child that size gets tired, it wouldn't matter what we tried to do at this point.
right. Yeah.
Napping is necessary.
Yeah, napping is definitely the necessary thing. Yeah. Yeah, their attention spans are only so long.
Yep. Right,
and then when I go back over the second time, I kind of give it a little pop down. Like I touch lightly the first time, and the second time I give it like a little. I'm trying to like tell you exactly what I'm doing, because sometimes it's just like innate, and I just do it, and I don't realize like, oh yeah, I'm popping it down. Like I'm
kind of pushing it, maybe.
I'm kind of pushing it, yeah. So it gives a little bit of a pedal to it.
Okay.
On top of the line that I did originally. And then my third time I'm going around, I'm lighter. I'm back to just barely touching it.
Okay.
And so
you would say kind of your second coat is
more of like a little plop down to give a little bit of a, I mean, I don't push hard. But like it's more of a push, not that hard of a push. I don't give that much, but more of a true push down versus like a very light little touch.
Okay.
But now I don't do it hard. But these, they don't take a huge amount of time. It's like pop, 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 and just going around.
Do a huge bouquet of these in no time.
Yeah, you could, because they're quick.
Yeah.
Because you almost don't even think about it. You're just like follow that circle and do little circles in, leaving some space, of course.
Ooh, we all got quiet. We're all watching. Thank you, Carol. Thank you. I hope it's
great. You can tell when the concentration starts to kick in.
Like, yeah, this is really easy. You just pounce, pounce, pounce. But the next thing you know, you're watching every little pounce to make sure.
Yeah. But
I admire you guys that can paint on live, because it's hard to paint and talk. It is really, it's kind of hard. It's hard.
Yeah, it's like everything else. The more you do it, the easier it gets.
Yeah.
And it's just like the things that you create, you can create all these like beautiful journal things that take me forever, and I have to be very concentrated, and I think, well, how are you talking? It's no different. I feel the exact same way about you, the things that you create and all this stuff, and you're talking just and I'm like,
that's true. Whatever's more natural for us, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
the thing you do is,
just home.
Yeah. But
oh, look at Lauren's pretty daffodils. You can catch up her color over there. Hers are like, hey,
oh, beautiful. Yeah,
base color.
Beautiful.
They do look like starfish. They say they look like starfish. Starfish daffodils. We're making a new breed of flowers over here.
Hey, that's all right.
That's right.
They kind of got that starfish-esque going about them.
I do. My starfish are just chubby. Chubby.
Mine are too. They just fit. All right. It fits right in with me.
Right. Oh, this is so much fun, Amanda.
I'm glad you're having fun.
Thank you so much for taking your time to do this because it's awesome.
They are so fun. Paint parties are. I do paint parties locally, and I have the best time.
Maybe we need to see if we can figure out how to do one live where we could get a group together because I think it's super fun here because I got my girls here with me.
Yeah,
and how fun to have that environment.
It's a lot of fun. Friday I had a big paint party for the it's a group. They're of Scottish descent, and they're called the Scottish Clan meetings, and they have them all across the country. And this year they were in Richmond, and they wanted to do a paint party, painting what they call, I call it the Highland Cow. I think we all call it the Highland Cow except for them. They call it the Wee Healing Coo.
Oh my.
And so we had a paint party with them. It was so much fun. They're a fun group of people. I thought Irish drank, but apparently Scottish drank too. And they had so much fun. And they were wearing their kilts, and men, women, they were just having so much fun.
I think it's so cool when you get the opportunity to kind of celebrate parts of your culture because we forget that,
We do, yeah. Next year they're headed to Scotland. They're like, you can come with us and we can do a paint party over there. And I'm like, that sounds just awesome.
That sounds like a blast. Oh, Capri, I love that idea. Just put out all the stuff and help. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we just need the opportunity. You know what I mean? We just need the time set aside, somebody to say, okay, I'm going to paint. Just like me, we put this on the calendar and I've been looking forward to it for days. But if we didn't put it on the calendar, I could have just as easily said, maybe I'll paint tomorrow or whatever. But
tomorrow, maybe I'll do something else. Right.
Yeah, sometimes you just have got to put it down, somewhere so that it happens for real.
And when you're done with your flowers and you're happy with what you have, now we're going to add some more white to everything, but we're going to add a little green in here now.
Okay.
So we're going to go back to that green.
Are you using the same brush? You cleaned it out and just kept going?
Yep. I cleaned it out and kept going.
Wow. You also probably have a fairly tidy palette, and I've got a mess everywhere.
No, I have, this is my palette.
Oh, good. I feel better. I got 2 plates here. Look at this.
That's fine. You're good. And so I'm just going to take some of my green, and we're going to make some leaves, and we're going to make some greenery.
Okay.
And so what I want to do is just kind of like, first thing I want to do is figure out like where my stems are. So I'm just going to kind of like put a little stem in here. Just kind of like where it makes sense. Like, I don't know that we would see this one, but we could
turn my box right side up. I'll have my stems going east and west.
Right. Put a little one in there. This one you're not going to see. So, put a couple stems in. This one you won't see. So most of mine you're not seeing, but if for yours you can see them, just like figure out like where they would be and pop a little stem in there. And then we're going to pop some leaves in there. Now for a daffodil leaf, we want them nice long leaves. So I'm going to put one coming like up behind this one and going out like that.
Oh, wow. Y'all, I'm studying. Look at me. I am studying this.
Something like that.
A long, tall, skinny.
Long, tall, skinny. Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I just pulled out a Crafty brother oof there. Did you hear that? Ooh.
Ooh.
That was
you got this going on.
Big idea there.
And then
So would the leaves kind of come from behind the flower of the daffodil, or would they come off of the stem, or does it
It
matter?
would come off the stem. If you have stem, you can start it at the stem and then go behind the like the whatever flower.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, you could put the stem in or the leaf in front of, but I wouldn't cover up my beautiful flowers with the leaf. I'd just tuck them behind. But if you can see stem, you don't want it to be just out in space.
Just random coming off of there. Gotcha.
Right, right. Now for me, I can't really see stem, so I'm just making it up. I'm just putting it where I want them, you know.
Leaves anywhere.
That's right. They can go anywhere. Like I'm just going to bring one out from behind that just kind of like goes, this is the other side that'll just go behind this one here, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Now because I did this oval shape and because Bob Ross is my hero, I'm going to pull one up on the side just kind of like, and I'm just going to let it come off over here outside of my oval. Kind of like when he used to do his ovals.
Mm-hmm.
Paint his ovals, and then he would pull that like a long tree up on the outside of that oval.
That's so pretty.
Yeah. Just something like that. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then because I love broken ones, I'm going to give a broken one right here. I think I'm going to just let that be enough. Just something like that. I could have like a little peony leaf coming off of here going this direction.
So if I put a leaf off the peony, it would be a wide, shorter leaf.
Right. It would be a wide, shorter, kind of leafier, kind of like that. Just wiggle your brush. Just when it come down, just go wiggle, 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 point. Wiggle, 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 point.
Wiggle, 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 wiggle.
That's right. Wiggle, 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 wiggle.
Wiggle, 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 point.
And sometimes making those noises actually help. I like to make those little noises like wiggle, 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 point. I'm going to leave my green in my brush, but I'm going to go pick up a little bit of my yellow and doing that same kind of dry brushy technique where not a whole lot of paint. I'm just going to go back over my leaves and put a little yellow in my leaf. Don't have to put a whole lot, but I'm just going to scratch in, and I call it scratching in because it truly is like a scratch in because you don't have much paint. So you're just scratching. And what comes off, comes off. I'm not even, or in how it comes off, comes off. I don't even care. I call it scratching in. We're just going to give a little, like, just some color.
Back to the concentrate again.
Mm-hmm. Get these hard words like scratching in.
Maureen, I love that idea. Did you see what she wrote? Her son's wedding was hosted there on their property. So she put out a big canvas and paint and asked everybody to paint a flower in the vase on the canvas as their guest.
Oh, that is an awesome idea.
That is so cool.
That is an awesome idea. I love that idea.
Me too. Amazing.
Okay, Capri, she said she was confused about the time. Trust me, I get confused with time zones too.
Yeah.
in the different time zones. I'm like, I can't keep it all straight.
I can't either. And I never know, like on my own page, since I'm central, should I just always stick with central, or do I try to, adjust it based on
Right.
yours? Or, it's hard to know. I try to put them all in there, but then I'm just always confused.
Right. And sometimes I think the more helpful you try to be with that, the more confusing it is.
We feel ya.
It's like,
Feel ya. Feel like my little peony leaf got totally lost. It's too close to the color of my background. So I'm going to lighten it up just a little bit.
Lighten it or darken it. You go either way.
Yeah, how would I darken? So like I just had the one color green. I had a pale green and a medium green. Is there a way with paint to darken the one color or not?
Well, the answer is yes. Depending if you have the right color. So you can darken with brown, you could darken with black, you can darken with the complementary color, which would be red.
Okay.
And so you can use any of those three with some greens, depending on the makeup of the green. Black, you want to be careful with because you get some weird grayness to it. But you can use any of those colors to actually get a darker green. And so, but yeah, you can use the black, you can use a brown, and you can use the complementary color, which is in green's case, red.
Right.
And red and green will give you some pretty dark greens, and it'll also give you some pretty dark reds, depending on like ratio, right?
Mm-hmm. My first life was a hairdresser, and so somebody would come in with their hair green from the swimming pool, and the first thing we would tell them is we have to color it red to get the green to go away, and they would freak out because they didn't want their hair to be
red. Right.
Yeah. It's just what's going to take away the
right.
Right.
Yes. How you gonna tone down that green? I've done that before. I did that before. I've always been. I mean, I'm the darkest blonde I've ever been in my. Of course, it's just darkened over the years. But when I was young, I was like extremely blonde, like blonde. And one year, I guess I was probably about 8 or 9. I went to a friend's house and swam in her pool, which had a bunch of algae in it that I didn't know.
Sure, you were just a kid having a good time.
We're just having a good time splashing in the pool and, stirring up all that algae. And I go to get out and my hair is the color of the grass.
Oh my gosh, Amanda.
Yeah, it took so much washing. We finally washed it out, but it was I know I used a big old bottle of shampoo and we started washing immediately the second I got out of the pool, and they were washing my hair and washing my hair.
They were so scared what your mama was going to say.
Well, my mama was there, and so it was. Yeah, had green hair. And I mean, even to some degree, like it basically just grew out at the end. We washed it till as light as it would go. And then, but if the light hit it a certain way, you could see green.
That could just be in style. Now you'd be all right.
I would be, no one would care.
No, all that is all the thing now.
Right. This is back in the 80s. I guess it was maybe even late 70s, early 80s, and people didn't have green hair.
That's right. It was not a thing.
It was not a thing.
We did on purpose anyway, right?
Right, exactly. So yeah, once we get our green in there, we can add some highlights with that yellow. We can add some white. We're going to add some white highlights to everything. Yeah. Oh, they're looking really pretty. I'm loving it.
I guess I should turn it that way. That's kind of where I am.
Beautiful. Beautiful. We need to add some light, some highlights. And so using that white. And I'll say if you want to whimsy something up a little bit, you also use some black.
Okay.
If you want it to look a little more on the natural side, I mean, you don't have to because we've used all these different colors to get the thing. But if you want to whimsy something up, black and white are a way to whimsy it up.
Okay.
And so I'm going to take my white and I'm going to do my brush the same way so you can see those bristle colors. And we're just going to add a little bit of a highlight.
Okay, so
Just
you're
on the edges.
brushing. You're not tapping, but you're brushing.
I'm just kind of brushing, yeah, but I still have that little, I just have a little bit of paint in my brush. Like I have paint loaded, but just on that edge, just a little bit. And I'm just gonna, where my light side is, I'm just gonna add just a touch of that white. I don't want to take away all of my paint by covering it with the white. But I just want to give a little bit of like a brightness to it. And I'm going to do the same thing in that center.
Okay, so right around the middle where we kind of were working before.
Yeah, not in the middle, but around. Yeah. And I don't want to take all that away. I'm just going to kind of just tap my brush, the corner of my brush. And I'm just going to tap it around.
Oh, wow. What a cool difference. Look at that. So here's my one right here with the white.
Yeah. And then look at your others. And so all of a sudden that really starts to pop that out, doesn't it? It makes the white makes a big difference. That highlight is a game changer. It definitely makes a difference.
It does. How fun. I'm going to go just highlighting everything here for a minute. Just whoo. Put some highlight there. You highlight. No, I know.
I will tell you that happens.
It's just so pretty. I got to put it everywhere.
Right, exactly. And all of a sudden you look down and you're like, I done highlighted everything.
My daffodils are white. I made white daffodils now.
Yeah. Well, I think they do have white, or they may make jonquils. I think I don't know. I sometimes have a tough time between jonquils and daffodils, like which ones are which. But I have some that still come up that I probably planted 27 years ago when I moved in this house.
Oh, wow.
And they still come up to this day.
That's awesome.
And so now my tulips have stopped. I don't have any more tulips that come up. But the daffodils, they still pop up.
That's the only kind of plants I can do. They gotta be self-sufficient because I'm not that I'm just not gifted that way. I'm telling you, I'm fairly good at keeping people alive, but plants.
I do okay when it comes to plants outside. My outside plants, they can do in my gardens. I didn't plant a garden this year, but they do extremely well.
Wow. Now
my inside plants, don't ask me to keep an inside plant alive.
I know, Capri, isn't that cool? I was laughing because I was so excited. I eat avocado about every day. It's about my food deal about every day. And now did you continue on with the white on the roses?
Yes. On the peonies. Yep. Do them on the peonies. Just touch the very tips.
Just the very tips.
The very edge of your petal, like where that edge would be. Touch that very edge of the petal.
Okay.
And, try to keep that roundness going. But yeah, the very edge. And you don't have to do the whole edge. You don't have to like trace out the whole edge.
Okay.
Just touch down, load that brush and just touch down. Load it, unload it,
Put
and
it
then
on,
just
take it off.
touch down. Yeah, I'm big on unload. I guess I'll leave a lot of paint on my palette, but that's okay.
It's just paint, right? That's
It's
what I
just paint, and
just paper.
in the grand scheme of things, it ain't that expensive.
That's right.
So, and I'm just gonna put a little bit on my leaves, just a touch.
So I was so excited that I had this little avocado tree growing in my kitchen. He was looking so pretty and he was doing so good. And one day I watered him and he died immediately.
Oh
I put
no!
water in the pot and within 15 minutes, all of his leaves went whoop, and that was it.
Oh my!
I
I've
killed
never
him with
seen.
water. Killed him with water.
I'm like, I've never seen anything like that.
Just like I mean, I drink the water, so I assume it wasn't the water.
We had an avocado growing in the house, and that thing grew up all the way up to the ceiling in the kitchen. But I was like, what are we gonna do with this thing?
Uh-huh.
And I finally was like, we just
Well,
gonna
send
let
it to me, Amanda. I'll water it, and that'll be.
it. I would
I
if I
was so
still had
sad.
it.
You're kidding. I babied that thing for months and I gave it a drink of water and it's like, nope, that's too much. I'm dead. And beep, that was it.
That sounds like Mom and I tease. Mom loves her flowers on her porch, and I plant them every year for her. And she loves hold on, I'm gonna forget the name of them. I know them. And I love them too. Oh, it's not a petunia. It's a
Begonia? That's what we.
no, not begonia, but it's similar to a begonia in the fact that it doesn't like, maybe it is begonia. They don't like the direct sun.
Okay.
They don't like too much water. And they're very picky. And it's like, and I was teasing Mom like, oh, I watered it and it's dead.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you have to, or they like a lot of water. I don't forgot, but like if they get unhappy, they die easy. And so I don't know what maybe it is a begonia. I don't know, but I have like a waterfall out back of my house and in the backyard, and it I plant some flowers in it, or not in it, but around it. And begonias love it because of so much water. The water there, they grow really well there. But on my mom's front porch, just like
Not so much.
not so much. Carol said she had them last year, and in her lawn, her hubby helped her out.
we
Wow.
have we have such a crop of moles here in our yard. Every once in a while my dog decides to go digging out.
The bowls. Okay, I see. Hey, Dee,
Cheer her on. Like just
thank you for sprinkling the love.
Hi, Dee.
We don't have too much issues with the bowls or anything, moles or anything like that. We have several cats that are just like feral that are around here. I think they keep them away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to save a black snake last night.
Oh my gosh, from a cat?
Well, the black cat that roams around here, was after it. That's how we had discovered it. But trying to get away from the black cat, it got up in the netting of 2 tomato plants that we planted. I put some netting around it to keep the deer from eating them, because that pregnant deer was eating everything. And so he got caught up in the netting.
Oh.
So Ted and I went out to get him out, and while Ted was getting the stuff, I told him, I said, now I'm trying to help you. Don't you bite me.
That's
And,
right.
and,
Didn't
and
understand that.
I told my husband when he came out, I said, he heard me. He said, he doesn't understand you, right? I said, we have an agreement. I'm helping him. He's not going to bite me. And so Ted's like, you are crazy. So as we were cutting the netting away, and got closer to his head and the last little bit. Now he had on rubber gloves. I did not. Cut the last little bit. The snake spins around and bites Ted on the hand, like through the rubber glove, like not through it, but like on the rubber glove, right? It didn't go through the black snake. They just have like teeth like us. And so they're not going to bite through anything. I mean, they might be a little pointed, but they're not going to bite through anything. And so I tapped him on the nose and I said, naughty. and he like let go and he looks at me and I said, see, I told you needed to talk to him and tell him.
You gotta tell him what he can and cannot do here.
That's right. I said, now he was
Oh.
Anyway, but I had to laugh at him. I'm like, and you thought I was crazy.
You down there talking to a snake. Maybe you are a little bit. I don't know. I forgot to put some white on my leaves, so I'm going to get just a little bit. Uh-oh. I'm just going to tap a little tiny touch of some white highlight on my leaves. I think are we about there? I'm putting a little white on my leaves. I forgot.
Yep, I think we're good. I accidentally hit the wrong button, guys. I'm back.
We're still here. We waited.
Whatever you want to. I think if you're happy with it, you can add a little dark on there if you wanted to, or not.
Where would you think dark?
Flowers. Well, yeah, if you wanted to whimsy it up a little bit, you could, but it's up to you. And I love it the way you have it, and I don't want to.
If I was going to do more, like you mean in the peonies, go back in with my original pink then and kind of.
I don't think you need to. No, I don't think you need to do any of that. No. Oh. I think it's beautiful.
I think it's fun. Super fun. Mm-hmm. And I got the little leaves and stems. I think you can see them now. That was a little bit of a challenge because I probably had my green a little bit too dark when I started my background. So I'm pretty happy now. I think
yeah.
More visible.
I think it's very pretty.
Well, it's so much fun.
What I meant to do was this and make me bigger. There is mine.
I love it. Lauren is making tilt up. She's working on hers.
Okay.
Yes, she's got a recipe box she's painting on. And Merritt was working on a background over there, but she may have quit. You want to show us what you did?
Yeah, show us what you got. You gotta hold it down a little bit there you go. You can put it up. Oh, pretty.
She's working on a background. Jenna's working on a big old recipe box.
Yeah.
And Lauren on the other cigar box. Hers is coming along. You want tilt?
Yes. Oh, that's beautiful. Beautiful.
And then there's mine. How much fun.
I love it.
Well, Amanda, thank you. Thank you so much. Let's do this another time.
Yes, I had so much fun. I think we should. Anyway, somebody get a picture. We'll hold ours up. And somebody get a picture. Yeah, get in there, Cheryl.
Somebody get us a screenshot. Hey, I love the colors. Yours are kind of muted. I love the way that looks. They look soft and vintage. I love that.
Well, I think it's the paper, the paper coming.
But I like that.
It's giving that color tint to the things. So yeah. But thank you so much. Y'all have a great rest of your day.
Have a great day, guys. Thanks for hanging out.
Thank you.
Paint. Let me see it if you paint something.
Bye. Yes. Share with us. Bye.
Bye, guys.